Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerds of the Roundtable, a weekly talk show where we react to and discuss the nerdy news. My name is Frederick Sullivan, and with me is Jonathan Rooney.
It's not my name.
Jonathan.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
It is his name.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is now forever known as Jonathan Rooney.
It?
Yes, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. So what's going on?
All right, so my name's Jack, and I don't know. I gotta admit, you've kind of thrown me.
I threw you off.
I'm not sure if we wanted to do our usual, bullshit in the beginning, or if you want to just go straight into that first discussion, because it kind of encapsulates a lot of the different things that we've been doing in gaming this year.
I mean, we could talk about what we're watching first and then get into it.
Sure. What are you watching?
I watched, obviously, like, the season finale of everything for going in. I, just caught up on Supernatural.
Sure.
I watched, there was another show that I watched. Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they were fine and dandy.
Cool.
They were good. And then I watched the latest episode of the shit show right now that is Dragon Ball Super with its filler episodes. Oh boy. Apparently this is a highly rated filler episode, though. Mainly because it's something different and wacky and zany more of, I'm sorry.
Wayne? Bruce Wayne the Batman.
They played baseball. I fucking hate you. They played baseball, and it was something. Just give me more action. Actually, next episode we'll have it, so we'll see what happens there. But that is pretty much everything, because everything is going on break, much like all news outlets, and much like everything is going on break.
I'm still laughing about Bruce Wayne. Oh, man. Okay.
You're a fucking loser.
It just made me smile. And
what have you
didn't let me
watching?
get it all out, so I've just been smiling this whole time.
What have you been watching?
Nothing really.
Oh, wonderful.
Since our last episode, Westworld was the only thing I was watching that I really cared about. Been watching a little bit of Penny Dreadful on Netflix, which is pretty good. Been watching some Person of Interest on Netflix. It's pretty good. I mean, none of them are shows that I would be like, you have to go out and watch these shows. But they're fine shows.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I mean, that's something then.
Yeah.
Actually, another one I watched was Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I think I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes with everybody. Mm-hmm. If anybody likes Ash vs. the Evil Dead, any of the movies, Evil Dead, whatever it may have been, good. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Gives you a backdrop on the story a little bit. There's some comedy in there. Cool, well mixed. Cool. Ash fights a butthole.
Every hero has to contend with their own butthole.
He gets sucked into the butthole.
Well.
And he is inside the carcass, just head deep.
Did you see the tweet advertising our episode last week or whatever? That was, if you want insightful conversation, if you want good journalism, you're in the wrong place. But if you want insightful commentary and dick jokes, welcome.
Well, now you can add butthole
jokes.
Anuses. Yeah. Anus. So that's what I've been watching. I guess if we want to get into the first topic then about. Sure, it's basically what have we been playing this year that is noteworthy that we're going to look back on and think that was well worth my time or not worth my time at all. And actually, to aid us in this conversation, I think what I'm going to do is pull up the list of games for this year. Okay.
Because that should help. But is there anything that immediately jumps out? I mean, we're going to probably talk about our Game of the Years at as an official discussion, maybe next week or the week after that or something like that,
okay.
At the end of the year.
Yeah.
But if you could, your top 3 or 4, what games have been really impressive to you?
So this year, games that have been really impressive, obviously the TGA game of the year winner, Overwatch.
Yeah.
Definitely revolutionizing in its own way. My personal game of the year, I'm going to give it to Uncharted,
sure.
Which we're going to talk about at length next week, but that is another one that, as far as being an Uncharted fan and playing all of those games, relatively close to one another, because I played the collection and platinumed it all shortly before playing 4.
Yeah.
And that just was such a fantastic game. Other than that, Gears of War was fine, but I don't think I'm going to put it up there.
No?
Sadly, no. It's given I haven't been able to play the multiplayer as much as I'd like to. Just stuff has come up. My usual person that I play it with is 3 hours behind, so when he gets on, it's midnight So, Sean, if you couldn't guess. So it's been a little difficult with that. But if I had more time to spend in that game, then it possibly could have been.
Could have been bigger than it was, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if there's another game that I would really put on there right now that like is like top tier. That at least that I can come up with at the top of my head.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm looking through January right now, and nothing is jumping out to me probably besides The Witness. Which,
well, Witness was the only one in January. You're still only in January there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm rolling through January. That's what I said.
Oh. Okay.
And I can't find anything besides The Witness that I think was a big deal. Well, and like that was a game that I played. Mm-hmm. I thought it was incredibly smart, but I didn't experience it in the same like transformative way that a lot of other people seem to experience it. Mm-hmm. That is easily a lot of people's game of the year, and I'm not quite there. Like I appreciate it, I think, for what it is, but not as much as other people like it.
Makes sense. I mean, it's something I could very see niche market. Like it is a puzzle game.
Yeah.
An interactive, very well done puzzle game.
And apparently, like, so much more than, just a puzzle game.
A story behind it and whatnot. But as far, like, what it is, the core gameplay is a puzzle game. Which that might not attract people like myself.
Yeah, it is gonna turn people away. And then, so you get into February and you have XCOM 2, which I thought was an incredible game.
So I haven't played it.
I mean, I loved... just about almost every minute spent with that game.
Until they just destroyed you at the end where you had no choice, no moves left to do except for restart the game.
Well, no, that was XCOM 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was XCOM 1. And that was I was about halfway through the game when that happened.
Bummer.
But there was nothing, maybe I was just better prepared for it this time around, but there's nothing that held me up like that in XCOM 2. I thought that everything was as challenging as it needed to be. My hard drive was particularly challenged with all the saving and reloading that I was doing over and over again.
Why?
Constantly dragging a file up from the depths to like reload the entire game.
And I'm thinking about picking that game up just because it is on sale right now.
I think PSN. If you were looking for something that's going to keep you busy and entertained for 30, 40 hours, that'll probably do it.
Maybe. I don't know.
How much is it on...
I don't remember how much it is on PSN. I know it's on sale, though.
If it's less than 30, I would say dive in.
I don't know if it's less than 30.
If it
might
was
be like 40.
Like that, I would say that's easily... 40 even, I would say you could justify, but...
it's almost like... The way I'm looking at it, though, is like if I want to invest into an RTS right now...
Yeah. Well, it's a turn-based, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
sure.
Well, not real-time strategy. I'm sorry. Turn-based. Civ.
I wasn't trying to be pedantic. I wasn't trying to be a dick. No. But I would actually, I think if you're putting those two in a category next to each other,
I fucking hate it.
then yeah, I think Civ would be the one that, like, I haven't even played it and I really want to, but that would be, I think, easily my pick.
It's just because of its track history.
I can't run it. Like, I can't. It's not accessible to me, and I think that is like. That's Civ's greatest downfall, is that like in a one-to-one comparison against XCOM, I can play XCOM on my PS4 or an Xbox One or like a mid-level PC.
Well, you're also talking about like
Civ. I feel like I wouldn't be able to grab
of all strategy games, or amongst them at least. StarCraft and stuff like that. And then you have XCOM, which is an up-and-coming one, but it's not. Really, it's like it's trying to make sure that it knows it's figuring out its audience.
I feel like XCOM is a really big deal to the people that care about it, and to everyone else in the world, it's just kind of like that's that alien game, right, or something.
Well, you can kind of say the same thing about Civ, but Civ does have the star power behind it.
It does have, I think, a broader reach. Firewatch also came out in February. I don't think it's going to be winning anything. I think public opinion was hot on that game and then turned on that game very quickly.
Man, I feel like that happened to another game this year too.
No Man's Sky. We're going to get there eventually.
I know,
if
but
I know,
it's
that's
just
what you're
like the constant build of hype. And then just to not have it play out to people's expectations.
Well, I mean, the difference is that I don't think Firewatch was trying to tell anyone that it was something that it wasn't.
That's true. That was all like crowd based.
It's just people getting excited about like the mechanics in Firewatch and like how conversations are going to work and how the story could branch in all these different ways, and like there was something really deep and interesting under the surface of Firewatch, but then like the narrative played out turns some people off. How I don't want to spoil anything, but Yeah, the finished product didn't work for some people, and that caused public opinion to turn in like a major way. I would say, but I mean, definitely a game that I enjoyed. I had no problem with it like that. So, I mean, if you haven't played it yet, I might recommend it if you're into that kind of game. Yeah.
Even though when we say this week, by the time this goes up, it will not be on sale anymore.
Let's see what else. Far Cry Primal was a big deal for some people.
Still didn't play it. The Far Cry games are hard for me to get into.
Really? That seems like
it sounds like it, right? And then I played Far Cry 3, remember? And I stopped after like being like 15-20% the way through. I
really enjoyed Far Cry 3. I loved Far Cry 4. I didn't get around to Primal either, just because it seemed kind of like this weird offshoot,
just throwing it out there.
It did well, though. I mean, apparently, I think it did well.
I don't know.
Stardew Valley came out.
Yes, well, that's recent, right?
Stardew Valley came out on PS4.
Yeah,
it came out in February on PC, I guess.
I was thinking about picking that up, but
I mean, you and I talked about it the other week. I think, like, if you think you can be into kind of town building, like
I don't know.
People talking simulator, relationship building simulator kind of thing, it'd be well worth your time. But
it's more of just experiencing something different. But I don't know if I'm.
I think that that could be an easy way to go. It can't be more than $20, right?
I don't think it is now. I think it's 15 right now.
I mean, I might actually recommend it for you at that price because if nothing else, the game begins with your character kind of like taking a break, like thinking about taking a break from their busy life, and that's very much what the game itself feels like. Like you have all these high production, crazy games, and then you have this like very simple on the surface, but incredibly deep.
Like Terraria.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like peaceful, but also like has some exciting moments to it. Like there is combat in the game. Yeah, but like Terraria is like always trying to oppress you with like enemies, and like they give you a reason. You know, Stardew Valley is just kind of like there. And it just kind of lets you do you in the game. So yeah, I mean,
cool. I'll take that.
Yeah, check it out if you want.
Maybe.
What else came out? Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which then led into Gears of War 4 later in the year. Which
I thought Ultimate Edition came out earlier. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess it did come out this year.
It came out on Windows.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that came out a while back.
When did it come out?
2014.
Whatever.
14?
Really? It only came out on PC this year then?
Yeah, I think it took a little bit for it to come out. I could be mistaken, but I want to say it came out like spring 2014. If you know, let us know.
The Division came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
What a disappointment.
Wow.
For me, at least.
I mean, I played that. I don't even remember.
Doesn't that feel like it was 1,000 years ago?
It really does, because that it was not a memorable experience.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to do this, because it's like there were a lot of games that came out this year, and a lot of people really loved The Division, and I think even more people love it now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has its hardcore community, but the problem is now is that they are waiting for packs to be released.
Yeah.
And it's taking some time, which is causing some people to drop off.
Yeah. I mean, like, that seems to be happening with Ubisoft games. They're having their initial burst, and people are, like, talking about it, and then it fades away. And then, you know, with Siege, it kind of comes back. Or
Siege came back in a big way.
Exists quietly, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, people are still talking about this and playing this? Like, and then
it's almost like Siege is like a 2016 game in some way, because it really found, like, a whole new level of footing in the game.
That came out late last year.
Yeah, it did. So
a lot of people are talking about Hitman. We have a question this week, I think, from Patrick Searles, talking about Hitman, saying I think it was Patrick Searles. If it's not, I'm sorry. Saying that it's a late edition contender for Game of the Year for him. And I've heard this a few times. People seem to be really into it, but I think that for me it was the format. Like I don't like episodic at all. And I know it was this kind of like it was bigger than just like episodic.
Yeah.
But
not walking.
Still,
like,
I don't like. I'm not really into that whole thing. You know.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. From when I was listening to PS I Love You XOXO, like our Colin was talking about how it is like you can spend hours on one level by doing it different ways and doing different challenges, which some people may find exciting. And then there's another level coming out in a month or two, whatever it might be. But I don't know if that's really what I'm looking for out of an experience like that. I'll look for the entire game, preferably. That's kind of like with the Telltale Batman series. I'm kind of, if I do want to play it, which I don't know if I want to yet because I don't really enjoy the Telltale games, I would rather get it in a a whole package and play it through.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would feel that way as well, especially because when I finish something in a game these days, I usually tend to like move on very quickly.
Yeah.
To the next thing. So like I don't know if I would be going back to re-experience the same level even in a different way over and over again. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Let's see, what's the next one? I was looking for it while you were talking, and then I got distracted because I wanted to say something.
So there was Division. The Division was like...
Oh, yeah, we did kind of wander away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just more like, keep searching for the next one. But, like, the Division had its hooks in me for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then I started to notice that it was just very... I don't know, like, the right word.
For me, it ended up feeling very shallow. It ended up feeling like they had... It was actually a very similar feeling to No Man's Sky. Although, like, I do think...
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I do think The Division delivered on more of its promises than No Man's Sky did. But in a way, they felt similarly because I was like, The Division is going to be all of these things. And that it was kind of semi-promised by their marketing, semi-invented by the potential that the game showed initially. Yeah. Like, when you thought about, ooh, how could these systems all work together? And then for me, it ended up being just like... kind of like a very surface level. I thought all the RPG elements are kind of boring when you have this setup for an almost Borderlandsian kind of gun system where you could do all these different things to it, but it ends up just being like similar guns over and over again that feel kind of similar.
That was the thing, is that a lot of the guns did feel similar, and then there was just like little attachments that changed how it felt when you shot. Yeah. But I mean, the thing was, it felt like there was really no diversity. And then there was really no, diversity in both weapons as well as missions. Like, it missions felt very repetitive.
And the most interesting, you can go back and listen to podcasts earlier this year if you're feeling crazy, but we talked about how we would improve the Division's dark sector. I don't remember what it's called.
Is it Dark Zone?
Or Dark Zone. I was very close.
Dark Sector.
Dark Sector sounds cooler. That's a space thing. Anyway.
Yes.
How we would go about improving that and changing it, and we get to be armchair game designers and not really have to back up anything that we say.
Make that engine.
Just change all these things. But ultimately, I thought there were a lot of things in that game that could have been better executed. That when I was thinking about the game initially, I thought were going to be better executed, which left me feeling very disappointed. Again, very similar to No Man's Sky.
Yeah. I wish that game was a little bit deeper than it was,
But also this year we saw Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was my game.
And I thought it was going to be me too, because I thought it was going to be me because I played and loved Bloodborne so much.
Yes.
But then after playing Bloodborne, I played the remaster of Dark Souls 2 and found myself wholly unentertained.
This is not the same.
Yeah, and I don't know what I was expecting. But
Dark Souls.
Yeah, I guess. I could see myself getting really into it, but it just didn't hit me the right way, I guess, which kind of made me lose some interest in Dark Souls 3. It is a game that I could see myself coming back around to, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, not for me.
But we also saw Ratchet and Clank.
I didn't get to play that either.
It's on the short list for a lot of people's PS4 game of the year.
Yeah.
And I did play that game, and I really enjoyed it. We've talked about it a few times before. I don't need to go into it, but thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable experience. It's also kind of a reminder of what gaming was just not too long ago, where it was a platformer, kind of
It did feel nostalgic.
Yeah, in a way, I can imagine. Just from watching Dave play it, I saw that, and it has simplistic controls, but also feels somewhat complicated. It has some depth to it, which those games back then kind of nailed. Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. There's another one out there that I'm not thinking of. I can't.
I mean, Banjo-Kazooie had a similar feel in some ways. It's I don't know. There's a lot of games that kind of... Ratchet and Clank, during its time, sort of felt like the last of a dying breed of video games. Those games kind of mascot platformer things. Yeah. And Ratchet and Clank survived well into the PS3 generation, which is kind of longer than you would have expected from anyone except maybe Nintendo,
Pretty much where they've kept the same thing alive for the past 30 years.
Yeah, and to do a retelling of it in the era of the PS4 and to find success with it, I was kind of shocked by the amount of not only just quality, which I thought the game had, but success that it found.
Yeah, it found a lot of success, surprisingly.
Yeah.
May have been because we haven't experienced that kind of game in a long time, and on top of that, it was characters that a lot of people recognized because they were all over the place on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
So...
And then I don't know. I could easily be skipping games. If I do, let me know, people. But I think the next one is probably Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
Well, there's also Doom there too.
Did I miss Doom? Well, that's a little lower.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm getting there.
Uncharted 4, which, as I stated previously, is my game of the year. Mm-hmm. Not to take anything away from Overwatch, just because of being an Uncharted fan, playing all 3 of the games beforehand, and getting into that, it was just a perfectly tied bow on a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. As far as the layer cake of Uncharted goes, like it's as close to perfection as you could see out of a quadrilogy or quadrilogy or something.
I don't even
trilogy plus one.
Plus one saga. I think it's
sure.
Saga.
Why not? And like to think that we've talked about it 1,000 times. Naughty Dog has produced incredible game after incredible game.
Oh, let me tell you one thing real quick. Kind of a sidebar.
Sure.
Played Last of Us multiplayer the other day. Mainly because I needed one trophy for multiplayer for the factions for Firefly. And I was like, I don't know how far away I am from it.
Yeah.
So I got in there, one game.
Oh, wow.
One game for getting a gold trophy. Because I was a dumbass. I played it. I was not good. I'll say that.
Did you get like smashed? Like were people using crazy? Like have people broken that game yet?
No.
Oh,
That's the thing is that like I was playing Supply Raid by accident. I didn't realize that it was.
Happens. We all make mistakes.
I was like, that's what this game is. Awkward.
That's why Jack and John never played this.
Yeah. It was.
It's fine.
Fine. Yeah. Like I didn't do very well, but
survival.
I think it's Survivor that you want to play. Yeah. Supply Raid is it's basically get respawns, and it was not as entertaining.
It's not good.
But yeah, that like just quality through and through, man.
Absolutely,
just quality.
And that's I was talking to my brother about some games recently, and the Last of Us was brought up, and he was like, did that actually translate well into multiplayer? And I was like, fuck yeah, it did.
It did a surprisingly good job. Like it's a game that like its single player is what it's known for. Like its multiplayer is criminally underrated. It could have been known
for its multiplayer.
Criminally underrated. Like you don't get a lot of really good third person like multiplayer games anymore. As far as like competitive. And it had one of the most competitive natures to a third person shooter that I've felt in a long time. Yeah. And that's like there's different things with it though, like the crafting system and everything in multiplayer, which is really cool.
I think some of it is that it feels like it has high stakes because especially in that mode, you are moving slowly. You have to be careful. You have to craft carefully. You have to know what you're doing the whole time. And when you die and you're out of the round, it feels like you really lost something because you're like, I did all this stuff and I just got headshotted by a bow twice and I'm out.
Well, the thing was, I got into it and it lets you know, like, oh, you have this many healthy people, like sick people, and whatever. Like, when I got off that game, I was at the top of my fucking game because I had nobody sick. Everyone was fucking like a horse. Yeah. They were healthy as fuck. And then I get in there and play one game, like 30 people die. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, dang.
I was like, oh, my bad, guys.
But we weren't even talking about The Last of Us.
No,
we were talking about Uncharted, which we both very much enjoyed.
Yes. The multiplayer for that game, man.
It's fine. I mean, I don't think the problem is I don't think it carries over the tone of the single player. No. I don't think it carries over the fun, what I find fun in the single player, which a lot of which is based on the narrative itself. Yeah. So there's no way it could do the same thing. But I don't know. As a single player experience, which is what that game is to me, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, it's had perfect mechanics in there. Like, you know what to expect. They added new things, but it felt natural. Yeah. Like, it was, like, a little bit weird. Absolutely. The sliding stuff was a little bit odd, but...
When they introduced it, they really, pounded it into your head.
Yeah, you're like, all right, this is going to happen a lot in this game. And you're like, after that, you're like, all right, this feels natural. Yeah. So... They did a good job with that,
but the next one that you brought up,
yes.
Sorry, I thought
no, that's fine.
Is Doom.
Yes, I didn't play it, but I heard fantastic things.
That's the thing, man. I'm leaving this year with like a ton of great games just in my wake. Like I I played a lot of really awesome games, but I also feel like I missed a lot of really awesome games.
The thing is you grow older.
You can only do so much, right?
They're like, you have less time to play games now, man. Like, it sucks, but so it happens. And on top of that, money, like, to purchase all these games is a big thing as well.
But yeah, a lot of people are talking about Doom. It sounds like they did a really awesome job, and
I want to play it.
I'm
waiting for it to go on like a really good sale. As sad as that sounds, I just need some way to justify it to myself right now.
There's another good game that came out later on this year that we're going to get to that I feel the same way about.
Yeah.
The next one on the list, though, Overwatch.
Oh yeah, yeah, that game, unbelievable.
We talked about it, in last week's or the week before that episode, like. It changed the game. Yep. It did an exceptional job being what it was.
Yep.
The only thing I wished for was more life for the characters in terms of like backstory and like I wanted wanted a single player campaign for every character in that game. Yeah. And like I know that's totally unreasonable. That wouldn't happen.
Not what they were aiming for.
Not what they were going for. But like
if you were interested, they do have comics and like they do have means to find out more about these characters, but in the game, what it was
as a game experience, like that's what would have been missing for me is feeling like a significant connection to these characters.
But I'll tell you, like that was one of the most fun I've had in playing multiplayer games in a long time. Like, yes, you can play that game super casually and have fun, and then you can also play that game super competitively and also have fun.
Yeah,
and that's one of the few games that like you could really do that for. Like when I go and play Uncharted, for example. As we were just talking, I'm not going in there like, oh, I'm the best. Like, and then after a while, you're playing Overwatch, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm getting really good with this character. I feel like our team as a collective, we know who our best characters are. Yeah. We can beat teams. And then you could also be like, all right, I want to learn this character today. And it's just completely two different feels to it and kind of rare in at least a console shooter like that. So
now maybe the most important release of the year, Terraria on Wii U came out this year. What are you doing, Terraria? But I mean, glad to see you in front of new customers.
Wii is like, please, we'll give you anything.
Literally anything. We are starving.
They're like, fine.
Oh, fucking fine. No, but
God, I don't want.
I only partially jest because the next most important release of the year probably Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I mean,
as a gaming phenomenon, if Overwatch changed the game in the industry, Pokemon Go changed games outside the industry in culture for a 1 month period, and then it was gone.
Well, I mean, it was happening like for a long time. It was not only a month. It was like 2.
But for buzz and like how long
what month is this?
We cared about it.
July.
We were done with that game by the end of the summer.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that they actually just released an update.
I know, I saw it today,
and I was like, nope.
So I re-downloaded Pokemon Go.
Really?
Yeah, and turned it on the first time in like several months because Starbucks partnered with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm at work all the time.
I might as well. Be the gym leader.
Yeah, like, and I wish they had made us a gym, but it was just a Pokestop. But I can literally every 5 minutes just like farm infinite items.
That's certainly helpful.
It's fine.
It's the thing is during the summer it was huge.
Oh, absolutely.
For 2 months, it was really big, and then
that's maybe why I bring it up more than anything else is that it was like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, like dude, remember the videos that were coming out like. Oh, there was a Charizard found in Central Park, and then you see a crowd of people running. Like,
dude,
I don't think you will ever see anything like that ever again.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I don't think Pokemon Go is ever going to replicate that kind of success.
No, I don't think so either.
It's past its prime.
One thing that I feel like I might have missed, I'm not sure if it came out earlier or elsewhere, but Inside.
Yeah, it was early on Xbox, and then it came out recently on PlayStation. Well, recently is past couple months.
Sure. Didn't play it.
Really? Still no?
Yeah, still no. Heard great things about it. Yeah. My brother was talking about it. Was it my brother? Someone was talking about it. Someone recently was talking to me about it.
Probably.
Maybe.
Because I beat it.
Cool.
And Dave beat it.
Maybe it was Dave. Someone was talking to me about it recently.
Yeah.
And like I've heard as many awesome things about the game as I need to hear. I will play it eventually. It's another one of those games that I have to like reach out and grab.
Luckily, it's a shorter experience.
Yeah.
The thing is obviously like there's a regular ending that you play through, which is
and then there's the secret.
Yeah, where you have to do get all the trophies in the game without a platinum.
Right.
And and do a certain sequence that who the hell figured out, I have no idea. And then it kind of gives you like a different way, like makes you think about what the ending is. And there's a bunch of theories out there, but as far as like a pure like how beautiful the game looked and how well it played, it knew what it was going for and nailed it.
Yeah,
it really did. And that's the same with Limbo too, but like this is a prettier Limbo. I'll say that. So
another big release for me this year, and we're gonna try and keep it moving.
Jesus.
Where are we? We're in like June or August or something.
August, no.
Was Starbound.
Yeah.
For me. That was a.
I didn't play it.
It's like Terraria in space, and I love it.
In space.
I thought that was an incredible experience. Amazing music. I've talked about it a lot, and I don't know. I have like some written pieces up about it on nerdsonline.com. You should go check those out if you're curious. But it's not a game that's going to see any real attention. So,
probably not. No,
except from me.
I'll give you the love you need.
I'll do whatever I can. Another big release this year, especially for us, was Brutal.
Yes, our awesome friends over at Stormcloud Games, also Richard Wood. This game was awesome. Now, the problem for me is that other stuff just came out around it.
Yeah,
and well, I mean, I still have it downloaded on my console.
There's two other games I want to mention in this time period.
Yes.
But before we do, Brutal was like an incredibly fun time.
Oh yeah.
And like it's a game I could still totally see myself going back to.
It's still on my console just in case I'm like
there. Yeah, for like one of these days.
Yeah, it's the thing is that since it's if you die you have to restart kind of thing. It's like, well, do I really want to invest a lot of time into it right now?
Yeah, it like asks you to play it. And then, like, play it until you die, basically. And then, like, hey, maybe take a break for a bit. Like, that's how I feel about the game. It's like, play it until I die, and then be like, well, I'm going to walk away for a couple weeks now, and then come back again and, like, play it again. And it's still just as much fun. The mechanics are still, like,
and the cooperative is a blast, too.
Enjoyed it, yeah. Especially making content with you about it was, like, a good time.
Yeah. Thank you guys again.
But speaking of awesome cooperative experiences, Overcooked came out around this time as well.
Oh, yeah.
And while I was not paying any attention to it at that time, I have since picked it up.
Did you pick up the holiday bundle?
I think.
Because the holiday bundle
there was a free holiday bundle or something.
Maybe. I know that it's on sale right now.
And like I'm playing that with my fiance, who is way better than Dave.
Fuck off, Dave.
At that game. In that like we are like that game is kind of, and I don't want you to read too much into this if you and your significant other can't make it work, but like that game feels like a test of my relationship at times, where it's like you really got to understand, and you cannot get mad at each other. Like you always have to be working toward
onions.
And this is the thing, man. This is the thing. You always got to be working towards a common goal. It's a relationship. It's relationship practice.
But it's not. It's involving food. Don't listen to Jack.
That's relationship practice to me.
It's relationship practice for him.
And on the same day as Brutal, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, so that wasn't the game that I picked up for it.
Around the time. What were you
I don't remember what it was. There was something that came out, or it was just a really busy time.
I got nothing for you there.
Anyway,
I was big into No Man's Sky for a time. We've talked about it a lot. I really don't need to go into it again.
Yeah, I think August is just a busy month for me in general.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because of my birthday, my dad's birthday, and all that. So something happened. I just know I couldn't get back to Brutal, and then September rolled around.
And then later,
I had a trip.
Yeah, later that month was Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Oh yeah, for you.
Which was a big deal for me.
Yes.
I hope I'm not like skipping anything that was important to you.
I'm sure you are, but like I'm
calling
really
out any big game from the year, and I'm calling out any game that I particularly care about. So like I feel like I can't be missing too much. I don't think anything else came out in that month that I cared about. Nah, I don't see anything.
I mean, there's obviously sports games and whatnot. That may have been what
you're Madden
what grabbed me. Yeah, because I had Madden for a bit.
Let's see. How long did you play Madden for? Because I felt like you were still talking about that as of like 2 weeks ago.
I play Madden for long stretches of time. Probably like 5 weeks, 6 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Up until basically another game comes out, and then I take my mind off of it. Because in September, I don't remember. Was there anything in September? Anything major? NHL I picked up recently. I had BioShock the Collection, and I still haven't beaten it.
Oh, I thought you like played that game start to finish.
No, I was trying to play it with Kelsey so she can enjoy it with me, and it was just other stuff came up. Well, we also have other shows to watch and whatnot, so it's a whole whole mess.
Hard to find time for everything.
Yeah. And then it was... I remember in October, there's Dragon Ball Xenoverse for me.
Darkest Dungeon came out on PS4, which is like a big deal for a lot of people. I played it a couple months ago, I think at the beginning of the year. That game is well worth your time. I enjoy it so much. It is the Dark Souls of turn-based insanity games.
That game will beat you down.
That game, yeah, it will grind you. And like that's another game I wrote a write up on for our site. Yeah. And like it is one of my proudest pieces of work, just the opening paragraph, because I really get like into what it feels like in the course of just playing through one complete and utter failure in that game.
I'm broken and bloody on the floor. Yeah, that's
basically what it is. And I'm like I'm writing from that perspective, and like I feel good about how I expressed it there, and I think that that is a game that is offbeat, and it definitely deserves your attention. That's what I'll go with. That's how I'll...
Okay, that's what you go with.
Let's see. Anything else on here?
I'm not sure. I know, like I said, Xenoverse
Mafia
comes
3,
out. Yeah, I didn't play Mafia.
Yeah, it sounds
I
like...
was tempted to get that game, but I couldn't justify the $60 for it when I was getting, like, mediocre reviews.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because, like, you want to support games that are doing interesting things, but ultimately if it didn't end up working out, like, even no matter how good that game's narrative was, it couldn't make up for poor mechanics. And it's
unfortunate, for sure. Then the next game on there you pointed out to me already is Gears of War 4.
Yeah.
Which is certainly an interesting game. The story mode for it is different but the same. And I mean, it's the same thing, but they did give you a nice little plot twist at the end. It feels like Gears of War again, but there are some problems with the multiplayer that I have, just minor things that just don't feel right. But that's just somebody critiquing it, being a fan since 2006.
Yeah.
So the game was fun though. It was a good time. The campaign was different, so it was enjoyable. And then the multiplayer was kind of like almost a kick in the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like it kind of brought me back. But at the same time, it's also different enough that it made me angry. But
it's hard to be a fan sometimes.
It is.
And then we also got Battlefield 1 and Civilization 6. Did you play either one of those games?
No, I heard Battlefield 1 was good.
Same.
I heard Civilization was good. I
heard Civilization was great.
Yeah, I keep going and like I check every once in a while on like Amazon. I'm like, Civilization 6, are you on sale?
No, never. Those games have never really reduced in price.
Never, dude.
They're good forever.
It takes years. Like it took years for Civilization 5 to go on sale.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when I picked it up finally. But no, I did some other shady things to get Civilization 5.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but no, it's like I want to play Civilization 6.
Yeah,
very badly.
Titanfall 2 came out,
yes.
And then Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim around the same time on the same day.
Yeah, and you also have Dragon Ball Xenoverse on there.
And Dragon Ball Xenoverse, which you mentioned like 3 times.
Yes. I'm still not done with it.
Finally came up.
I went back to it.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
How'd that feel?
I'm getting close to the end, so it's interesting. I don't know. I just know what to expect from the game, but I'm not trying to take it as seriously as I did before.
Right.
So.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've talked at length about my experiences with Elder Scrolls, and like, it's a game that like I shouldn't have, you know, I just shouldn't have. I put a lot of hours into it and enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, it was like what 40?
Yeah, probably, but it just ended up feeling like wasted time.
Because you just experienced the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't think about video games as like time wasters. That's not how I don't engage with video games to pass the time.
Yeah, it's more of to get new experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I went wrong. Like I got this game that I thought I wanted to experience more of, and really it ended up just being
you're like, I already experienced this.
Yeah, and I told you about the ending, right? Like how I felt when I picked it up that game. I thought I hadn't beaten it. I thought I hadn't beaten it, and then I played through the ending. I was like, no, it's just a totally boring, underwhelming ending.
No, bummer.
Fucking bummer.
Like, and I spent $60 on this.
Yeah. Dishonored 2 came out in the middle of November.
Yes.
That's a game that I'm gonna have to come back for. Just like Watch Dogs 2, that's on there as well.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 2 was a fun experience. I'll give it that. I got the platinum in it. I let Dave borrow it afterwards. Mm-hmm. He got the platinum in it. And it's for what I tell everyone is don't take that game seriously. And it sounds weird and it sounds bad, but like, don't think this is going to be like a Grand Theft Auto. Like, that's not what it is. It's its own thing.
Sorry, bro. It ain't that.
It's got its own bugs, but it's its own beast as well.
Cool.
Where it is fun to play. There are a lot of things that are easy to do as well, which some people might critique it for. But, the platinum in that game is actually pretty easy to get, with the exception of one thing that's a pain in the ass, and you have to take a picture of somebody vomiting. And it's just fucking random. But I find myself, they made it super easy to fast travel around the game, so you can get certain places wherever you want to go. The driving was fun, though, so I did find myself driving places once in a while, but the convenience factor of being able to fast travel almost anywhere on the map was incredible.
I think I just smacked the recording surface with the iPad.
Probably.
So there's going to be a good sound there. Sorry, everybody.
Thwack.
And then one other thing, so Pokemon Sun and Moon came out. Talked about that recently. We don't need a refresher on that. One other thing happened this year, VR.
Yes. I wish we had the funds to purchase the VR.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, it's going to be revolutionary, but it's going
to take time.
To a certain degree, it already is, but it doesn't quite feel like it yet.
Well,
to the people who can't, because until it's accessible, and it doesn't totally feel accessible yet, I think PSVR is our best attempt at making it accessible.
Yes.
It can't be revolutionary until it's in enough people's hands for a revolution.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The thing is that the people that purchase this and they have their friends over and they're like, "Hey, do you want to try VR?" Everybody that has it apparently does it for their friends, and they get to experience it, and they can find out if it's for them or not.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you go to a store like I did and you try to do it there, the guy's trying to do it for you, it's not on correctly, so you might not get the experience that you really are looking for. Mm-hmm. And that's what I had with eValkyrie, which it was fine. The game was okay. I would not probably play that one because that's a lot of going on there, but the experience of it almost was a little taken away from me because there was just light coming through the bottom, and it's not supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. But I believe that if you have time and somebody's patient, you can really get it on there how you want it, and you can play and experience that you want to. Some people are going to want to play Batman VR.
Yeah.
These are the things that will sell you on VR for what is going to be in the future, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I wish I had $400 to just drop on it, but I just don't.
My fiance was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, anything less than $100, I buy for myself when I want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then anything that's more than $100, it's a lot to ask for.
Yeah.
And she's like, "That's why you're so frustrating." And it's like, why? Because I know what I want and I buy my own shit.
That's what happens a lot. You know, the thing is oh well, there are things that I want, but they're $300+. I feel bad asking for those at the age of 24.
An Xbox. So an Xbox One right now is on sale for $250, and I'm like, that might be worth it for me to jump back into that.
But you already bought one and traded it in.
And now I'm like, do I want that? But it was also maybe at that price point where I could be like, hey, give me couple hundred, give me $100 in GameStop credit, and I'll take care of the rest myself. But there are other bigger things that I have to buy, so I want to be just give me money towards my own goals, because that's how I get what I actually want.
Yeah,
but you can't just ask for
it feels
you can't just ask for money.
It feels weird to ask for it, but at the same time, that's just kind of what you have to do.
That's kind of where I'm at, because you either give me money, or you find things for me that I don't know that I want, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah. But it's also
what am I I don't know what to ask for, because when I want something, I get it.
Yeah. The other problem is that when people try to buy you gifts, parents especially, when you're a kid, you're like, I want this, and they're like, all right, well, we couldn't find that, we got you this knockoff version.
Yeah, they make it happen somehow.
Yeah, and it's the thing is that we put you through that pressure where we have done the research, we know where to go, we know how to search the avenues,
we know precisely what we're looking for.
Exactly, and then. But instead, you want us to tell you and give you this frustration, and that.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience here.
Well, so the thing is, right, is that my parents bought me an Xbox 360 the year it came out, right?
Cool.
They had to go to Pennsylvania, to get it for me.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was like, man, I could probably get one online right now.
Yeah.
I could probably buy it, have it shipped here in a week. You don't have to go all the way out to Pennsylvania, but they don't understand the internet.
Yeah.
So it's it just kind of sucks, but that's just how it is nowadays, honestly. Kids, well, even if I call myself a kid, I kind of do. We do the research. Just if you want to fund our problems.
In that we're people that still enjoy like toys. Like we still, I don't know about you, but I still want like fun things for Christmas. Like other people want like new pairs of, yeah, I know. You're looking around and there's toys everywhere. I haven't gotten over the idea of like opening something fun on Christmas. I still want that. You know, and and like I don't know if that's like, but like other people, like we're doing a Secret Santa in my family.
Yeah.
And like my sister will literally never listen to this. I have my sister as like I'm her Secret Santa.
Yeah.
And like she has this list posted in the email thread, and it's like shoes, king size pillows, like more like three different options for shoes, and then and she wants 2 king size pillows, and like we have our budget limit or whatever, and I'm like, this shit sucks. You have a shitty Christmas list. There's nothing fun about this.
That's just what happens when you get older.
But like maybe that's what shoes are for her. But for me, I'm like, get me a video game. Get me something cool. Get me something like one of my favorite birthdays recently was like a couple of years ago when someone bought me a marshmallow gun. Because it's just a good time. I shot my brother with like 10 marshmallows, and then I ate marshmallows. Grenade launcher of marshmallow down my own throat. Exactly. But anyway, we've been talking about this way too long.
Yeah, I didn't expect this to go.
Neither did I. So we
only got like 4 things of news, so that's exciting.
So one thing we touched on last week, we'll just touch on it briefly again this week. Spider-Man actually released the trailer, not just the teaser from the last time we recorded. It looks awesome. Vulture looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm like down. I'm down.
Yeah.
Like you got me. I think they're nailing the tone, which for a lot of people, me especially, that was the biggest problem with the other 2 sets of Spider-Man films. Personally, that's
I mean, the thing is like the Amazing Spider-Man films. I think were great with Andrew. Like the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone were great.
Okay.
The storylines were not so great.
Yeah.
But this one, I think they're going to try to nail on all ends, and I am super excited about it.
You know what was weird about the Andrew Garfield ones for me, and the
Tobey Maguire ones,
was that it felt like a 27-year-old pretending to be a teenager, whereas like in this one, it actually kind of feels like a teenager being a teenager, but also being Spider-Man.
Well, Tom Holland is 20.
Sure, and that's what like he's not far out of that range, and that's what I'm saying. Like he feels like the way he talks, the mannerisms that he's using for Spider-Man. Still kind of feels like a kid, and that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah. Did you know he's British?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, just saying, like, it's impressive that he has an accent.
Well, it's impressive when anyone can do an accent. Yeah. I'm not good at them, so.
But I will say, awesome that he has the stupid the web wings, which it really doesn't really serve a point, but it's just cool to have a nod to the old school comics.
Sure.
And then also, it seems that they're introducing a few villains into it. Like there was one scene. Did you see Donald Glover in the trailer? By the way,
I don't think I noticed him.
Yeah, he was in there for like.
Yeah,
it was a real quick thing, but it looks like it was a guy with like shocker technology, like Shocker's gauntlets. So that was interessante. But it's weird also because Donald Glover is also in the Marvel Universe next in Black Panther's movie. Like he's going to be in Black Panther.
Okay.
So I don't know how they're going to tie this in. Yeah. But we'll see.
Let's see. What was this whole award show even called? I don't even remember. I gotta figure it out. But the Critics' Choice Awards came out. Mm-hmm. And the winner for Best Actress was Margot Robbie for Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn.
Okay. I'll let you continue.
Which I think is just weird, given the movie that it came from was just critically panned.
I mean...
I know that everyone was like, oh, her performance was like the saving grace, but like...
It was one of them for sure.
It's just like...
I don't know... I don't watch a lot of movies.
I don't know who else was in the running.
Yeah, so I don't know like other people's performances from their movies. Yeah. So pardon me on that one. But from my experience with Margot Robbie in Suicide Squad is that she really did a good portrayal of the character. Obviously, the first time it's been on live action, so it was a big deal, and she did a really good job with it.
Cool.
So I guess you would go with that, but I really don't know the other options, so I apologize.
I think I find the character of Harley Quinn kind of annoying. So like I don't know.
It's supposed to kind of be annoying, but also almost a little empowering to some people.
Like, and that's cool. Like, I want there to be cool female villains and heroines as well. But like, I don't know. I find the character a little annoying. So even when like someone is doing a good job portraying it, I don't know if I like it because I don't like the character.
You might not like the character. Yeah,
so
that
it's
makes
kind
sense.
of like,
It happens.
And then in other superhero news, Ryan Reynolds won Best Comedy.
Yeah,
for Deadpool.
Yeah,
Which
it makes
I think
sense.
is well deserved.
Yeah,
good job.
Yeah,
good job all
deserved.
around.
Did you see just some of the stuff that he does randomly, like his tweets and?
I don't follow him.
Like the one tweet he had, it was like, fucking because his wife I believe is Blake Lively, and like she was in The Shallows, the movie.
Okay.
And there was a picture of her like getting chased by a shark, and he's like, man, I really wanted to tell Blake here that I loved her, but then I realized I was a fucking shark. And it was just like stupid. Like, it was the most retweeted tweet of 2016. What? Yeah, okay. Random. And then there was also there was a scene that he did with himself as his twin brother.
Okay.
And like just talking shit to him the entire time. He's like, so why are you a and he's like, whoa. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't the first question. That was the second. I went ahead of myself. And he's just like, so why do you suck? And it's just like making fun of himself. And he's like, why did you win GQ's Man of the Year? And he's like, I don't know. And then it like pans over to Jake Gyllenhaal, who is the runner-up.
Yeah.
And he's the sound guy, like above him. He's like, hi, Jake. It was funny. It's
cool, man.
Short.
I mean, he seems like a good-natured dude with like a certain comedic spirit. So I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think he's bringing the right tone to Deadpool. Yeah, so I appreciate him.
I love him in a lot of his previous movies. So it's seeing it is good.
But the next movie we're going to talk about, Assassin's Creed the movie, which to me, like, they released this third trailer a little while ago.
Yeah.
And within the last week, I guess. And it looks way better than it deserves to. Is that is that unreasonable to say about like for what we've been given of video game movies? I didn't expect it to look this enticing, and like every trailer is designed to be enticing and exciting
for sure.
But like I would consider seeing this movie, you know? Yeah.
So the thing is, right, is that Assassin's Creed has got a really cool story. Like it's
got a cool universe.
It's unique
until you get to like the. It's got a cool universe at first.
Well, yeah, when they kept it with like the first two or three.
I feel like the first two games and plus maybe Brotherhood.
Yeah. And then after that got a little weird.
It got a little weird.
Like the whole the Apple of Eden and like all this stuff was really interesting, and like putting it into this setting, like futuristic tech put into this like old world setting is really cool, and it's interesting to see it portrayed on the big screen. Now, from what I'm hearing is that it's actually getting pretty good reviews. Like people are saying like, wow, I thought I would hate that, and I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Maybe it's a matter of expectations. Maybe the fact that we're not really looking for anything from it, we're not expecting it to be good. People are willing to see it as good, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the entire Assassin's Creed universe is one of those things where it's like the mystery was more interesting than the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's when the games of Assassin's Creed started getting into like the actual whatever.
Yeah, like why everything is the way it is, like the superior beings. I don't know what they.
I forget what they're called.
I don't know. They're basically the old gods.
Others or whatever. But it like that whole thing when they actually started showing that, I was like,
I'm out. And that's what I'm saying. I think the mystery of what was going on was way cooler than the answer.
For sure. Like, there's this random relic that gives people like the ability to just fucking murder people.
It's called like the Apple of Eden. Like, what does that say about like God and religion and like these, and then it ended up being like, nah, just crazy aliens. Basically,
yeah, you're like, aliens.
Ah, shit, man.
Like, fucking A, man.
But yeah, no, that seems cool.
Absolutely.
But bringing back Margot Robbie, she's going to be working with David Ayer to reteam for an all-female DC villains movie.
Yes.
Quote, Gotham City Sirens.
Which is really exciting. It's a lot of people are a little tentative right now because
did you see the look of movie?
Yeah, I mean, David Ayer is also the same guy that directed Suicide Squad, which is has been under some heat.
Mixed reviews
for sure. It's a fun movie, but it's definitely not what people were looking for from it.
Frankly, like, I don't think it's unreasonable for everybody to be scared of a DC movie until
as of right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and like it'll sell. It'll probably
It's
set a box
DC.
office record or something like that. But it, like, if you are a critic or if you are a fan of the comics, like, I don't know if you're going to get what you're looking for here, and I don't think it's unreasonable to be nervous.
So the thing is, right, is that keep in mind that Suicide Squad was the last movie under the old regime before Jeff Johns took over. So
let's hope.
Let's see maybe that it's going to change, because they said it in multiple sources that Suicide Squad changed its direction midway through the movie to make it less serious and more comical.
Right.
And they were trying to, like, make one-liners work that just really weren't working.
Yeah.
And, like, cut out just a ton of work that, like, Jared Leto did as Joker. Like, even more so than the extended cut actually had.
Yeah.
So it was definitely, like, that movie was fun, but it definitely was kind of a collage. Like, it was just a lot of pieces just thrown together.
Yeah.
And, I mean, with that said, the Sirens movie could be awesome.
Cool.
We just have to
I hope so. I want all these movies to be good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just you don't know.
It's a risky run.
Yeah.
So, but
one thing you can be sure about is that Sherlock is going to be awesome. And moving into TV news, Sherlock Series 4 is airing in Great Britain or whatever, as of the 1st of January. I don't know. I say or whatever because I don't know if it's airing here, if you're going to be able to watch it here as well. Without,
unless you have BBC.
Yeah, I was going to say without access to BBC.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, and it breaks my little heart.
You'll get it eventually.
But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I'm excited to know that it's just done. It's coming out. It's
I'm freezing my ass.
probably going to be amazing. I hope that's probably not getting picked up, right?
I don't know.
We're almost done here. Don't worry about it.
I never watched Sherlock, but I've heard great things.
You really should. I mean, if there are two projects for you, it's Westworld and Sherlock. I want you to
just throw it on. Throw it on.
Those are two things that I really want you to get into.
I mean, there's just there's Westworld. I have Walking Dead. I have to catch up on.
You really don't. Though.
I do. Ash vs. the Evil Dead. There's just a lot there, man. There's so much. And on top of that, all the shows I watch as it is.
Fine. You did this to yourself. You act like it's a job, but you did it.
But it kind of is a job, though, because I need to know about this stuff.
I guess. No one's... okay, fine. In other TV news, Game of Thrones won Best Drama Series at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. And especially with what came out this year, I'm surprised it wasn't Westworld, because I thought overall Westworld was a better showing, even when compared to season 6 alone of Game of Thrones. Because I feel like you have to do a lot of work to really enjoy season 6 of Game of Thrones. Like you have to put in the 5 years basically.
Yeah, 5 years of work, but it's at the same time, I guess, where they look at it as like a payoff kind of situation. Because if you're not watching Game of Thrones, then a lot of people are looking at you in disgust.
Sure,
I'm sorry,
but as like a single season. I would totally give it to Westworld, and we've already discussed, my feelings on the two shows in comparison to one another. I think that Westworld's biggest benefit is that this series was designed to just be a TV series, whereas like Game of Thrones was translated from the books that had so many details and had instead of just being a TV series, it wanted to get all this book stuff.
Like
in. And then you see season 6.
Yeah.
Where there's no more book to go on, and it's the fucking best season yet. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is that you try to give it the people that read the books as much fan servicing as you can.
I do get it,
but
come on.
It speaks to the effect that we ran out of book stuff. Here's everything awesome.
Now it's going to be just a season designed to be a TV season,
yes.
And that's what the difference.
With direction from George R. R. Martin.
Sure, but just creative direction from the person who created it, and TV direction from the producers and directors and everyone who's supposed to. And that's what I feel like. Season 6 is what it should have felt like the whole time.
I mean, it would be awesome, but it's hard to keep up that kind of.
I guess I love the ride. It's just that.
I mean, the thing is that we might not have enjoyed season 6 as much as we did if we didn't have all that stuff to work towards. So
you're probably right. It's just frustrating, and that's I feel like the biggest difference between those two shows is probably where they came from.
Yeah, I mean books compared to what is actual TV media.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of Westworld, Dolores, the actress who played Dolores, Evan Rachel Wood, won Best Actress in a Drama Series from the Critics' Choice Awards.
I don't know people's names in that show. I watched one episode and it was like 2 months ago.
Dolores was the girl in the blue dress.
Was she the one from the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Had her daddy, her pa
through the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where they had Trevor killing bitches.
Yeah. He shows up again later on in the series.
I love Trevor.
He's just kind of like around occasionally because he's one of the hosts. Oh. So like they'll use him here and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's always cool to see Steven. I'm like, I know that face.
It's that guy.
It's Trevor.
Hey, what's up?
And then finally, also in HBO news, J.J. Abrams is prepping a space drama for HBO, which is very exciting.
In space!
It's called Glare. It's going to deal with the colonization of another planet.
Dope.
Sounds like an awesome premise for a story.
Yeah.
And with J.J. Abrams attached, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like...
I'm excited for that, actually.
How do you feel about, like, space? Like, because we talked about this before.
Space.
I enjoy the idea of sci-fi. Like, I love the idea of sci-fi. Mm-hmm. But, like, it can go wrong so fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is that space is kind of like... As much as we know about space, we don't know shit about space.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is... That's why it's almost one of the best creative medias to use as well, is because...
You can kind of do a lot.
I mean, yeah, we have, like... thoughts and theories on what happens out there, but like what actually happens out there, we have no fucking clue.
Yeah, and like what it'll be like when we get to a planet, and how can we like make a planet our own? Exactly. I don't know. There's a lot of ground to explore and cover there.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Hopefully, it won't take too long.
I mean, because did you hear about that? Like a sun-sized star like got sucked into a supermassive black hole and just created this just gigantic explosion that you could see for.
Space is the coolest shit.
It's so dope.
Space is the coolest shit.
It made it look like spaghetti from how large it was pulling it.
Yeah.
And then just fucking exploded.
Oh man,
space is awesome.
But
anyway, let's get to the questions. First question comes from Joey Malone. He asks, can we get a drunk cast? That would be fun. I don't drink, so just be Jack.
Just be me. And while that would be fun for at least one of us, I don't know that's going to happen anytime soon. But there's one project we're considering at Knerds that might answer that particular desire. But
scratch the itch.
Still very much in the works, so I don't want to.
And that was from at most ADD on Twitter.
I appreciate the idea. I think I just caught Joey in Nerds Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
I think it's Joey. Yeah, he asked me like a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Hey, how do I get on the show?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're already like in line to be on the show because you tweeted with hashtag Nerds Nuzlocke." Plug.
Hashtag Nerds Nuzlocke.
Yeah, and then I get into the, I think it's the Pinwheel Forest or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, I fucking hope it's not a Sawaddle. And the first Pokemon I came into is Sawaddle. I was like, oh shit.
Well, we made a pact that I am going to be the legendary Pokemon when you get to it.
I think, did I agree to that?
Yes.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm going to be the Batwing. Oh, never mind, you're playing Black.
So you're going to be Zekrom?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's Zekrom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Zekrom and Reshiram or something. I don't know.
Never mind, I want to be the Batwing.
Well, you get to be a black electric dragon. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty dope, actually.
Yeah, with like a giant turbine on his back. It's pretty cool.
It makes no sense, but okay.
No, it doesn't. Patrick Searles. Yes, exactly. This is the tweet I was talking about before. Hitman is very good. Just wanted you guys to know that. Late contender for my personal game of the year. I guess he just wanted us to talk about our consideration of it. I mean, like I said, it's something that I think once now that I think the whole thing's out, the whole thing will be out soon. I could totally see myself playing it, but I want to play it as a complete experience. Episodic stuff is just not for me.
Agreed. Again, the next question comes from our boy Patrick Searles again, aka PS I Love You Too on Twitter. He asks, Jack played Pokemon Sun/Moon. Question: how bad is quote unquote call for help, and why is it the worst thing ever invented? Strong feelings being felt by Patrick here.
I got a lot to say about this.
Okay.
Strap in. Well, no, I really don't.
Okay.
So, call for help kind of sucks because when you smack a Pokemon real hard and it like gets to kind of lower health, it'll call in basically like just a fresh identical version of itself. Yeah. Which can suck. It can also, there are a few Pokemon that will call in different Pokemon that you wouldn't be able to access in the area otherwise. Like if you run into a Pichu in the earlier area and you get it down to low health, it might call in a Pikachu, or it might call in something you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Which is very cool. It's not worth it. It's not a great feature. I find that more often than not, when Pokemon, at least in my game, call for help, it fails. I would say 75% of the time. Like, they call for help and no one answers, which is the saddest thing.
Dude, I
just crushed this Pokemon's little rib cage with some crazy attack.
I was going to say, like, you look at this from, like, an outside perspective, it's like, call for help. You're like, oh, that's a feature. And then, like, you really think about it, you're like, call for help. Oh, my God, I'm beating this poor Pokemon to death.
Pokemon's like, oh, Jesus, somebody help me. And all of his friends are like, how loud is that? Oh, my God. All right, we're going to have to, like, fix that. Because I was trying to... Stop. I was trying to cover it so that it wouldn't be that loud, but...
It's your sweatshirt. It's not going to cover shit.
My sweatshirt and my hands. Like, I was trying to muffle it. Sorry, everybody. And everyone's just like, nah, I'm not getting involved in that. It seems like a dangerous situation. Can't be... Sorry, bro. You're on your own.
Bro, you see that Pokemon you're fighting? That guy's a...
He's gonna whoop your ass. That's a Snorlax. It's 10 levels above you, and it knows moves that seem to just break your little soul in half.
Like, dude, why did you get into a fight with them to begin with?
You shouldn't have done that. You're the aggressor.
You fucked up.
But anyway, yeah, no, it does kind of suck.
Okay.
Well, David Ardito wants to know, will you ever remember to ask questions before 2 hours? I do that all the time. Shut your mouth. Patrick Searles wants to know, in honor of Rogue One looking real cool, what's the coolest looking Star Wars character? Personal vote is for Revan.
Dude, much respect to you, Patrick, because Revan is fucking dope.
Yeah, Revan looks cool. He's not well known to a lot of people who are don't know Star Wars stuff. I don't know if I have a great answer for this.
So
I always thought Plo Koon was kind of cool.
You know, the thing is that
Fang monster.
I mean, if you go off like basic, you know, like the Star Wars like movies, I like Kylo Ren's helmet and his getup a lot.
Yeah, if you're focusing on just the mainline movies, I think your easy answer is Darth Vader or Kylo Ren. And I think the only reason Darth Vader doesn't immediately spring to mind is that we're so used to his image that it doesn't strike. I mean,
Darth Maul's another one you could throw in there too, but like he was like a one-time character,
and he had the advantage of like looking really different, looking almost inherently evil, and having the double lightsaber, like which was like the first time you see just
so dope.
It's just
movie was bad, but so dope.
Yeah.
But if you want to go, because I also look at the Old Republic. Remember the fucking Sith Lord that you train under on the Sith side? I can't remember his name, but he was fucking dope.
Wait, which one? I can't remember. I remember the one.
It's when you were the operator.
Operator, yeah. Darth Jadis. Yeah, Darth Jadis.
Bro.
Can you believe that I remember that?
It's so good.
He's got like a super cool mask. I always loved that.
Man, like
his
it's
mask
an MMO.
His mask was basically just like a blank, like slate, but it worked for him so well.
It was so dope. And like the thing is that it's an MMO, but like the storylines in that game were awesome,
some of them
and some
really
of the characters were really dope. And that guy is definitely up there. Revan is also in that game. Super awesome.
Cool, man.
So
my body hurts. I think I've been sleeping funny. And I'm also super tired. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night.
Oh, well, here we go. Andrew Minimas is coming in with 4 questions in a row for you.
It's time.
Our boy Andrew Minimas asks, the winter-themed maps and skins are out for Overwatch. Any of them catch your eye? Zarya wins the day for me with Roadhog in second.
I'm sure one of them would catch my eye had I seen any of them or knew anything about them.
I haven't really looked at them yet. Kelsey was playing it and kind of telling them to me as we were going along. I caught a few of them. Like, for example, May is Mrs. Claus, and like Torbjorn is Santa Claus, and Tracer is an elf.
That makes sense.
But then there's like obviously some other characters that are like Farah is just like icicles got like coming out of her. Cool. Reaper just looks like an ice monster. Roadhog is Rudolph.
Nice.
He has the red nose on his belly button.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't remember Zarya's though. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I didn't really look at all the skins though, so I can't really give a judgment.
Andrew Minow also asks, the Nintendo Switch is reported to be roughly a teraflop of computing power, putting it weaker than this gen's system. Is this a problem?
We discussed this a while back. If it was going to be weaker, I think it can be a problem.
Yeah.
Especially because now they're just getting more and more powerful.
Yeah, and like in 3-4 years, we're probably looking at either a next generation or the next step in some fashion, and you're already underpowered, and then within a few years you will be further underpowered. Which basically means no third-party support again.
Yeah,
you might get a few years out of it, but after a certain point, unless the Switch is selling like fucking crazy, you will not see third-party support on this.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that if they make it an easy enough media to like export to, that it's not as hard. That's the only way I can see them keeping it. But as far as it is right now,
we both know that's kind of a simplistic way. Like, you just can't be like select all, downgrade all. Like,
no, you can't. But that's like one. If they're making it for iOS, like, hey, you want to put it on our device?
Throw it on the Switch.
Yeah, why not? That's the only way I could see it. But.
Yeah, I think it will ultimately be a problem, and I think, unfortunately, I do not think the Switch is going to solve Nintendo's problems.
I don't think so. Sadly, I hope it did, but I mean, we'll see. Next question comes from again Andrew Minimas at 2 Rounds Left on Twitter. He asks, not a question, but can we just take a second and appreciate how awesome Aquaman looks in these new set photos? Yeah. No, the thing is Jason Momoa, you want to find character. Yeah. You want to find a person to make your character relevant and like someone that has been deemed just not cool in the comics for a long time. You put Jason Momoa on that movie.
Yeah, if you want him to be taken seriously, yeah.
The dude is apparently hilarious to be on set. He's funny and he's awesome to actually work with. And these photos are like making Aquaman seem like a badass. Mm-hmm. And like we got that in the Justice League trailer as well, where he like picks up Bruce Wayne and he's like, "What do you want?" Yeah, his portrayal of the character is making it very exciting for this movie. Yeah, and I'm actually pretty excited for it.
I don't want to be excited for it. Because that just leads to possible disappointment. No. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm so ready to be down with Aquaman. That's the thing. Like, I want him to be cool. But I don't know if he's going to be. Like,
we'll see.
I don't know if these movies are going to pan out. And, like, I'm still not... Yeah, we can always hope, but, like...
Wonder Woman coming soon.
We can always
hope. To a theater near you.
And the final question comes from Andrew Minimas again. Do you look at people's nerd/game cred... not in a mean way, but more of as a starting point for conversations and learning about them? Personally, I absolutely. Because when somebody starts to ask me about what I'm into, I have to gauge how much they know, how much they're going to know about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of, and it's not, and like he said, it's not in a mean way. It's like one of my coworkers talks to me. He's like, "Hey, like, what do you do for fun or whatever?" Like, that was a conversation starter. I'd be like, "Oh, I play a lot of video games." And if they asked the next question, like, "Oh, what games do you play?" I'm like, "Okay, well, you wanted to know." So I started talking about a few games, and if they're like, "I know that," then I'm like, then I can just keep. You kind of got to like snowball. You have to find the bottom, and then like work within that space. Yeah. So like if my soon to be father-in-law, I guess, like he's asking me about video games, he wants to hear me talk about it from like the industry side, like industry growth, where things are heading, like what is, like things like VR, like
the business side of
business change, like how the landscape is changing. Whereas like if my coworker Michael talks to me about it, he wants to hear about like the games I care about. He wants to talk about Bloodborne because I got him to play that. He wants to talk about like these other games that he knows that I like a lot, So it's like you kind of got to find how much like what the person's interested in and like their depth of knowledge in it. To know, like, what do you need to explain? What do you need? What can you assume that they know?
I mean, I think that's basic human interaction.
Yeah,
like it's like.
But in this case, like, it is assessing their.
I guess so. Like the thing is that like a good example of this is I spoke about it previously when I went to Los Angeles and I met a girl named Ruth Ann and we nerded out about Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
fucking the hardest I've ever nerded out about Dragon Ball. For like 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
And it was obviously a point in which we tested like or kind of
exactly like how did that conversation start? Like it was I like Dragon Ball. Do you like Dragon Ball?
Well, she plays Bulma in the fucking robot underdog Light of Hope. Be sure to check that shit out. It's coming soon.
Okay.
It's fucking dope.
Cool.
Yeah, so she's like I know she likes Dragon Ball. I'm like perfect.
Yeah, so you already know like where you're at.
Exactly. But like we were still like trying to figure out like I told her I was like I don't know a ton about Dragon Ball, but like I know a lot about Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. And she's like perfect. And like we just started going out and it was awesome. And the thing is a lot of the people like put myself in situations more often than not where I am around people that know what I'm into.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm very open about what I like.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars, video games, Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, the difference between your social interactions where you can kind of assume a base level of knowledge is that you do things like that where you're like you already know you're hanging out with people who are also like nerds.
Yeah.
And you work in like an IT department.
Yeah.
Like we talk
about movies.
You can kind of assume you kind of understand that most people have a base knowledge of like what you're going to talk about.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if I was listening back to one of our podcasts recently, and I was like, if someone were to just like jump into this, how much would they understand?
Not a lot.
And like when I'm editing Nerds Nuzlocke, I think the same thing. I'm like, I'm using Pokemon terms specifically. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know Pokemon things, you might not actually know what I'm talking about. And like if you stuck around for a couple minutes, you probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and like so that's the first level. And if you don't know if you couldn't tell me what an RPG is besides like an explosive military grade weapon, like there's a lot of people in this world who don't know that. And like that's just like I don't create content for them, I guess. Like and I'm like trying to think about who I appeal to. No one.
Well, the thing is that when you're like talking about things, like you are letting out, like especially in circumstances like this, where in the media, where we are letting out like our full knowledge and our full nerdiness into this.
We're kind of just going at it. Full force.
It's not like we're trying to introduce people into it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do it in that fashion. But in terms of regular day-to-day conversation, when you're talking to somebody, you're kind of like, oh, do you see that? Or did you see that Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah.
And then we'll get into it a little bit, and then we'll start talking about like Marvel and the Avengers, and like that's when you can kind of get into it.
Yeah, I mean, like just by example, like I talked to my coworker Peterson, and he is like super into comics, and he's like an artist, and he's gonna be doing comic book art soon. Like that is like he is like there. That's
awesome.
And like he, you know, so if I'm like, hey, did you see that new Spider-Man trailer? He's gonna be like, fuck yeah, and we're gonna have a 30-minute conversation about it. But he's like, oh, have you heard of this game like Witchman or like? And I'm like, The Witcher? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
it may have one of the order.
I'm not trying to like, and I'm not trying to like insult him or anything. I'm like, yeah, it's a fairly well known game. And he's like, oh, they might be looking for someone to do comic book art at some point. And I was like, you follow that up. Like you follow that. That company's exploding right now.
Yeah.
Like,
they have been for a while, but like,
that's what I'm saying. So like, so it's kind of like he's into nerd culture, but like he has his different avenue. This is his slice of nerd culture. And like I eat a broader pie, but like
you got bits and pieces of it everywhere. Yeah, you got bits and pieces.
So it's kind of like
you're like a mouse, just kind of stealing the cheese from wherever you can. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, like I'm sure he has to do the same thing with comic books that I would have to do with him about video games.
Oh, for sure.
He'd be like, "Did you see that Spider-Man trailer?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, everyone saw the Spider-Man trailer." He's like, "What do you know about like this random character that like was in like 3, and I'd be like, I literally never heard of this, and he'd be like, oh, okay, cool. So we'll walk that back a little bit.
Like, all right,
well, I lost you somewhere in between,
Did you see that guy who was in the thing?
Yeah. So
that's it's hard not to do that, especially in our like. I was gonna say field, but like just more of our interests.
Yeah, and like I mean, it's the same thing. Like if someone were to try to talk to me about, like if my father-in-law were trying to talk to me about like banking and like stocks, I'm like, I think I have stocks. Like I've got a few stocks.
I got these things. Well, it's like anytime I try to talk to my parents about anything technology or like comic book related or TV related or movie related, like they are not inundated in that at all.
I guess the point to Andrew's question is like we're constantly doing this. Humans are constantly doing this with each other all the time forever. It's one of the base parts of communication.
Yep.
But because nerd culture is like this vast sea and there are like 1,000 different ways to interact with it, and there's a ton of people who feel like they're into it but only in their own slice or their own way, you do sometimes feel like you have to like find the level that person's ready to engage at, and then go from there, Yeah,
I mean, you need to find how much you can nerd out about it, But that's
I get what he's saying there, yeah.
For sure, yeah. All right, well, we are running on an hour 20.
We done did it.
Yeah, we
That's
did it
the
again.
podcast.
Fucking A. All right, well, thank you guys for everything. We greatly appreciate every single one of you. If you wanted to, you can follow us on Twitter. I am Fred_Sully. This is Jack is Gaming on Twitter. If you wanted to know about the news and updates from Nerds Online, be sure to follow @Nerds Podcast. Also, if you like this video, maybe give it a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment down below that Jack may check, because
responded to everyone so far.
Look at that. I haven't checked it at all. I apologize.
And we say this all the time, but seriously, please consider sharing it with a friend. If you enjoy it, people that you know that like the same stuff as you, who are on the same nerd level as you are, really might enjoy us as well. Just try and convince someone to give it a chance. We would greatly appreciate it. We're always trying to grow, and personally, it would mean a lot to me. So,
indeed, yeah, it's always good to grow.
And if they like this, maybe mention Nerds Nuzlocke as well. Just see how that conversation goes.
Like, do you like Pokemon? Do you like really weird Pokemon?
Do you like Pokemon played in a really weird way that doesn't seem fun?
Stupidly hard?
Check this out.
All right. Well, anyway, also, if you are liking this and you are not already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And you can find out about Nerds Nuzlocke. You can find about the Nerds podcast and maybe some other stuff that we're working on in the future. Other than that, if you wanted to submit work onto the website, be sure to send it to contact@nerdsonline.com or go to nerdsonline.com/community-entry. It's going to be right down here. You can do that, submit your work, video pieces, written pieces, whatever you want, and then we'll review it and put it on the site.
By the time this posts, we should have at least one new thing up.
Perfect. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much everything. I did not talk about my excitement for Rogue One. I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it in a 70mm format, by the way. Cool. Only 13 theaters in the U.S. have it.
Well, look at you.
Can't wait!
Yeah. Did you need to talk about your hype for... Can we just all assume that you're hyped for Rogue One? No! That's good.
Flex everything in the name of Jeremy.
There you go.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Keep nerding out.
Yeah. That.
Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video if you can. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Keep nerding out.